Coming up on this edition of Quincy in Focus.
Congratulations. There is nothing easy about what you accomplished.
Graduates from Quincy College received their diplomas.
We have fun, and that's the important thing. We're out in the nice sunshine and having a good time.
Sportsmanship was alive and well at the annual Quincy Senior Olympics.
When we do have the initial design on the repairs for the foundation and the structure.
And the Friends of the Southern Tide Mill provide an update on the historic site. These stories and more coming up on Quincy in Focus.
Hello and welcome to Quincy in Focus, Quincy Access TV's news magazine show. My name is Mandy Flaherty and I'm a student at Quincy College interning at QATV. Leading off this edition, a ribbon-cutting ceremony was held at the Quincy Housing Authority's Sawyer Towers to celebrate the completion of 3 new handicapped accessible apartments. Mayor Thomas P. Koch and James Marathas joined the festivities by giving speeches and handing out keys to residents of the new apartments.
It's nice when a plan comes together. 4 years ago, the Housing Authority lost approximately $2.8 million. 4 years ago, we used to have a driver that used to come up to Sawyer Towers, pick up all the checks to be signed, and drive them up to 80 Clay Street. It was not an ideal situation. The finance office was here at Sawyer Towers while all the other administrative offices were up at 80 Clay Street. The funny thing is when you walked into the finance office, it was so obvious that it could be 3 units for housing. It was laid out as if 3 units belonged there. So after it became apparent that that should happen, I took the first step, which was to go meet with Jim Fatsis. And I think I remember his words that day and said, "This is a no-brainer." And he was right. It was a no-brainer. Presently, our finance department has moved up to 80 Clay Street, and we have created a ton of efficiencies by having them there, and we had this tremendous opportunity to create these 3 new units. So when I went to meet with Jim, we didn't only speak about these 3 units. These 3 units are part of a much larger project. It was actually 6 units of housing that we were creating by this funding. Down in Snug Harbor, we have 3 family units that were vacant for as long as 20 years. One of them was an old daycare facility, and the other 2 were offices for HRCI. This project not only created these 3 new affordable handicap units here at Sawyer Towers, but they also renovated 3 family units which were occupied by 3 families that were displaced from the storms in Puerto Rico. And that happened over the winter. I think some of you remember that event.
We're going through, this region is going through a real boom in development. And I know it kind of rubs both ways. You know, we're creating more units in the marketplace, which fundamentally helps people find housing units because we don't have enough in the Boston area. So even if the units new aren't subsidized, they actually are helping in the respect of supply and demand. It helps to stabilize rents by putting more units in the marketplace.
I think what we have to look at in this is the courage, because the collateral, the actual collaboration of local and state governments. This is something that you don't hear about enough. But without DHCD, this doesn't happen. Without the ordinances in the city for affordable housing, we don't have the money to fund this. Their repositioning of this asset wasn't easy. They had to move their finance office. And when I use the term it's a no-brainer, it's a no-brainer, but it's painful. You have to move, you have to change your place of work, you have to start thinking outside the box, and that's exactly what happened. And these units are being revitalized, I believe, from an office space, because they're right inside the front door. They're right where it should be to help our most vulnerable residents live a quality and wonderful life amongst everybody else that's here. It's a great opportunity to put people together and to make sure that they have an opportunity to thrive, and that's our intention.
Recently, Quincy College celebrated the commencement of its 2019 class at the South Shore Music Circus in Cohasset. Speakers at the commencement included Mayor Thomas P. Koch, commencement speaker State Representative Ronald Mariano, and class speaker Clanice Tamara DeBrito.
Graduates, you did it. You attended classes. You completed assignments. You passed tests. You wrote reports. You prepared projects. You made presentations. And then you spent many more hours at work, all at the same time that you were taking care of a home, family, and each other. Congratulations. There is nothing easy about what you accomplished. And now you know you can. Now you know you can. My heartfelt congratulations to each and every one of you. God bless and enjoy the day.
To our graduates this morning, I just want to offer my personal congratulations to each of you. The President spoke from the various communities and countries where you come from. You chose Quincy College, and I want to express my gratitude to the faculty and staff who worked so well and hard on your behalf so that you can enjoy your great day here today. I also want to offer my congratulations to your families. I can see the pride in your families, the faces around this room here today. So go get them, chase your dreams, conquer the world. God bless you all. Congratulations.
True happiness and meaning comes from human connection. Not just with the people in the office. It comes from the people at your kitchen table, in your neighborhood, in your church or place of worship. Never forget that you are an asset to your community, and your community needs you. Look to it for strength and meaning. If we all make a little extra effort to be more involved in our communities, just maybe we can bring some more sense and decency to our country and to the world. And with that, I wish you all the best of luck in your new endeavor, and congratulations to all the graduates. Thank you very much.
Sometimes we are so focused on our objectives that we can't see the increments of change that have led us to our accomplishments. Personally, I recently discovered that in order to succeed in any aspect of life and reach the goals that we've set for ourselves, we need to acknowledge who we are, learn from our mistakes, and find our path. Here at Quincy College, we merged to form a melting pot of students, all striving to achieve the same goal, graduation. What I didn't realize soon enough was that even though we're all here to accomplish the same goal, we achieve our goals by following our own unique path. So my advice to you, class of 2019, is find your path and design your life in line with the strengths you possess. Don't withhold from the world all the potential you have to offer.
Recently, Quincy held its annual Memorial Day Parade, culminating in a ceremony held at Mount Wollaston Cemetery. Many residents and military family gathered to honor fallen servicemen and women, including 1,300 Quincy residents who died in combat.
3 years after the Civil War ended, May 5th, 1968, the head of the Grand Army of the Republic established Decoration Day as a time for the nation to decorate the graves of the war dead with flowers. Major John Logan declared that Decoration Day should be observed on May 30th. And while it started out commemorating the Civil War dead, it slowly evolved into Memorial Day and an opportunity to honor all the men and women that gave their lives in defense of this great nation. With over 1.3 million wartime deaths, we can never pretend to know all of these brave men and women. But make no mistake, we owe each of them more than we can ever repay. Every one of these men and women was someone's son or daughter, brother or sister, husband or wife, and was known and was special to them. And those folks, we also owe a debt of gratitude for their sacrifice. I'd like to share with you the story of Petty Officer Nathan Bruckenthal of the United States Coast Guard from Stony Brook, New York. On April 24th, 2004, Petty Officer Bruckenthal and 2 U.S. Navy sailors were killed while intercepting a waterborne suicide attack on Khor Alamiya, the oil terminal off the coast of northern Iraq in the Persian Gulf. An account of the attack was included in the May 2004 issue of the U.S. Coast Guard Reservist magazine, and it goes like this. In the early evening hours of April 24th, a dhow approached an oil terminal in the Persian Gulf. Bruckenthal, trained as both a boarding team member and a boarding officer, was accompanied by 1 other Coast Guardsman and 5 sailors from the United States Navy. The group boarded a rigid hull inflatable, taking off in pursuit. As the crew was poised to board the dhow, an explosion was detonated. 2 Navy petty officers also died as a result of the waterborne attack. Petty Officer First Class Michael J. Pernicelli of Monroe, New York, and Petty Officer Second Class Christopher E. Watts, 28, of Knoxville, Tennessee. Abu Massad al-Zakari of Al-Qaeda in Iraq claimed responsibility for the attack. Petty Officer Bruckenthal was posthumously awarded the Bronze Star with the Combat Distinguishing Device, the Purple Heart, and the Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal. He's buried at Section 60, Site 7978 of Arlington National Cemetery on May 7th, 2004. I tell you this story so it can be remembered. And I encourage you to learn other stories and keep them going. As we reflect, let's not forget. When I was here in December, I challenged the young people in attendance that, given the opportunity for a research project, to wander this graveyard and choose a name of someone that gave the ultimate sacrifice and learn their story and keep it alive. That challenge still stands. So, this Memorial Day 2019, let's remember, reflect, and honor. Also, let's enjoy some good barbecue on this beautiful New England weather. Thank you, and God bless this great nation.
The Mayor's annual prayer breakfast was recently held to celebrate the National Day of Prayer. Speakers included Captains Kyle and Amber Maynor of the Salvation Army, Mother Olga of the Daughters of Mary of Nazareth, and Rick Doan of Interfaith Social Services.
Good morning, everybody. Reverend clergy and members of this great community. So grateful you turned out this morning. Keep praying for sun. One of these days, we're bound to get some sun. But I'm truly blessed to be the mayor of this great city, and blessed to be married to a lovely woman in Christine. I'm blessed to have 3 healthy children with their heads on straight. I know we have a number of folks from different faiths in the room this morning, and I know the rabbi couldn't be with us, but Janet Petkin's going to be doing a reading. And I heard a beautiful comment from Pope Francis recently when he referred to our Jewish brothers and sisters as our older brothers and sisters in the faith. I thought that was remarkable and a great way to tie us together as a faith community. To the different clergy members who are here, I truly appreciate what you do each and every day for our community. For, you know, we as a city, the bricks and mortar are important, but they're not most important. It's the health and the health of our, spiritual health of our citizens that is so important, and the role you play each day is so important, and I'm so grateful for that.
So the Salvation Army is founded by William Booth in London, England, and these were his words. He says this: "Your days at most cannot be very long, so use them to the best of your ability for the glory of God and for the benefit of your generation." And that is what we are founded on as the Salvation Army and what we aim to do. And our motto is doing the most good, which most of you might think, what's that? That's kind of arrogant, right? But this is from Evangeline Booth, who said this. She said, "There is no reward equal to that of doing the most good. for the most people in the most need. And that is where our motto comes from. Doing the most good for the most people in the most need. We go to those who are down and out, those who are in the streets, those who have nothing and no hope, and we offer them hope.
I'm so grateful to God for this opportunity to be with all of you. It's really a privilege to be in a community of faith, community of family, community of friends, but also to be among people who give so much and serve so much. As our mayor mentioned that our city is a great city because of all of you and many more who are not in this room. But generosity and goodness and faith of so many people in the city of Quincy and beyond have made this community very exceptional. And I'm so grateful to the Flatley Foundation, Flatley family. Thank you for your generosity to our community. It's really very humbling to receive this gift from your family that has done so much for the Archdiocese of Boston and many other communities.
The reason we're here today is to celebrate what we have in common and not what is different about us. I'm sure that everybody in this room has had an experience in their life where they've been able to look in the eyes of someone that they've been able to help, that they've been able to see joy in someone else's eyes. That feeling is something that we see often at Interfaith Social Services. I get to see the best of us every day. Our volunteers get to see the best of our society every day. There is a perception that when someone is in need, they brought it upon themselves. Our world is so selfish. We're all looking at ourselves or on our phone. We are so focused inward that we don't look outward enough. And people who volunteer with the Salvation Army, staff members of all of the social service agencies here on the South Shore, they get to see the best of us. Those who will humble themselves to ask for help, and those who are willing to serve without any thought about how they will benefit.
The 74th anniversary Caddy Memorial Day ceremony was recently held at Caddy Park on Quincy Shore Drive. The ceremony is held annually by the William R. Caddy Detachment of the Marine Corps League in honor of serviceman William R. Caddy, who was killed at the Battle for Iwo Jima in 1945.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the rampart we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
At this time, our Caddy Commandant Dean Dewey will escort the Caddy family and lay the memorial wreath.
It is said that a man is not dead if he is remembered. The other day, Governor Baker visited North Quincy High School planting the 20,000th tree in the Commonwealth, and they did on the grounds of North Quincy High. And I asked the governor if he would come in the building. I wanted to show him the atrium of honor at North Quincy High School, and he obliged and came in and was quite amazed. If you haven't been to North Quincy High and seen the atrium, all the men who graduated from North who died in conflict are remembered in that atrium. And then there's 5 individuals singled out with each of their stories in special panels on the wall of that atrium. One being Captain Dick Stratton, who was a POW Vietnam. One being Ellen Bredno, one of the longest serving POWs on nation history from Vietnam. One being General Charles Sweeney, who was involved in dropping the bomb in both flights in Japan. One being Medal of Honor recipient Everett Pope, and the other being Medal of Honor recipient William Caddy. William Caddy walked the halls of that high school. This park is named in his honor. His family remembers him, and through the leadership of Mark Connolly and his comrades from the Caddy Post, he is remembered and will always be remembered by this community. May God bless his soul and all the souls of our veterans gone before us, and may God bless our soldiers all across the world as they fight to keep the peace. Thank you.
Friends of the Sothertide Mill held their annual meeting at Brookdale Quincy Bay to educate residents on the historical significance of the historical Sothertide Mill, talk about future plans for the back property and the upcoming Quincy 400, as well as listen to keynote speaker Bob Damon.
Our speaker tonight's going to be Bob Damien. Bob Damien, as some of you folks may know, also runs the President's Church, the temple for the interpreters and the greeters and the visitors, as well as he's been hired by the city of Quincy to run the 400th anniversary of Quincy, which is coming up in 2025.
Well, welcome back, Doug, as being the president again. Just thank you for everybody coming out tonight. You know, I've walked the grounds, I've walked the building, walked through it a few times with Doug a few years ago. I know that you're dedicated volunteers to help out the city as well as the Sothertide Mill.
One of the things I picked up off the table over there was revealing Massachusetts history. And when you think of history, you think of Quincy, you think of Boston, you think of the surrounding areas, and the Sothertide Mill falls right into this realm of things that we need to pay attention to make sure they're restored.
The funding sources, I know there's been some community preservation work in the past. They've made some grants. When we do have the initial design on the repairs for the foundation and the structure through Tie and Bond, they will also give us what's called the engineer's probable opinion of cost for the different phases of repairs, and we can seek funding whether through the city or the community preservation or other grants at that time.
I want to thank Paul Hines again for coming out tonight and helping to clarify some of the complex issues around the ownership of this historic heritage asset here in the community. It's really important to have those kinds of messages coming and to have that level of partnership with the city as these things are moving forward, because buildings such as the Tide Mill, residing where it does in a designated port area here in the city of Quincy, occupies a very complex and complicated landscape in lots of different ways. And there are lots of different rules and regulations and other things that make it, as a historic heritage site, a complicated one to navigate. In 2025, Quincy celebrates its 400th anniversary of European settlement. And to mark that particular important anniversary, the city of Quincy has launched on a very unique way of celebrating its anniversary. And I say unique because I've also been involved in some really interesting meetings with other communities in the South Shore and the North Shore who are also celebrating, they're looking forward to celebrating their 400th anniversary. But nobody is quite doing it the way Quincy is doing it. How is Quincy doing it? It's doing a large community planning effort that is designed to bring together the collective voices of people in the community and say, where do we want Quincy to be on our 400th birthday? What do we want it to literally look like, and how can we get Quincy there? There are 6 different categories or general areas that the 400 is going to be focusing on: capital assets and transportation, economic growth and tourism, health and wellness, history, arts and culture, neighborhoods, and education.
Quincy seniors recently turned out to show off some serious skills at Quincy's annual Senior Olympic Games held by the Kennedy Center. Activities included volleyball, darts, billiards, and a golf tournament, plus much more.
It's so hot you can't even see the flame.
The 37th annual Senior Olympics for the city of Quincy. Started, of course, by Barry Welch, who just retired in February. We wouldn't be here without everything that Barry did for the seniors and for the city in his tenure as the recreation director. And this is my 28th year working the Senior Olympic Games. And so I've got friends who I've known since the very beginning who are still participating here, and I make new friends every year. It's really quite fun.
Hi, my name is Maureen Conway, and I'm with my neighbor, Lorraine Rooney. I'm playing bocce for the first time in 20 years. I think Lorraine's played before, and I think she's pretty good. I'll turn it over to Lorraine.
You think wrong, Maureen. I'm not good, but we have fun, and that's the important thing. We're out in the nice sunshine and having a good time.
Yeah, we find bocce, my wife and I, she's not here today, but we found bocce to be a very interesting and not very hard to play. We've been playing now maybe 5 or 6 years. We both, my wife and I, have won a gold and a silver. So it's interesting. As we get older, I don't have the strength to do it. So, but we come down, it's a lot of fun.
My name is Ben Feehan from Braintree, and I love to bowl, but I can't bowl very well, but this is great. It's good competition, and I hope to do better next year.
My name's Paul Desmond. I live in Duxbury. I came here with a friend of mine from the Legion, Peter Andrew, and I love a challenge, and also I'm blessed to have the health to be able to do this.
Hi, my name is Jack Kelly, and I'm down here cheering on all the men and the women who are representing the Quincy Senior Center. We've been playing cornhole for 2 years now, and everybody's really ready and eager to play. It's always well run by the Quincy Recreation Department, and just exciting to see them play.
The Council on Aging services all seniors 60 and above throughout the city of Quincy. Like I said, we do medical transportation. We're a conduit to things like South Shore Elder Services, where you get Meals on Wheels, and a whole bunch of other things. You can visit us on the city webpage, which is www.quincyma.gov, and then in governments, our page is there.
That's all for this edition of Quincy in Focus. On our next episode, we'll highlight the Watson ribbon cutting, and we'll also feature highlights from the Firefighters Memorial Ceremony. If you'd like more information about Quincy Access Television or are interested in becoming a member, visit our site at qatv.org or call 617-376-1440. My name is Mandy Flaherty, and thanks for watching this edition of Quincy in Focus.